Go for the midnight dares. Go for the memories. Go for the view that goes on forever. Go for the bubbles in your bathtub and in your drink. Go to bed whenever you want. Or don't. Go for him. Go for her. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Live here from Screwballs as we come to you across the JAKIB Media Network, a special edition of the Countdown to Kickoff show from a great spot in King of Prussia, Henry Racich. We're here every Thursday night bringing you a countdown to kickoff, fresh off of that pounding that the Eagles took on Monday night down in Dallas. We've got to look past that game. We've got to forget the game on Monday night and look ahead. Andy Reid coming into town and the Kansas City Chiefs. Welcome in, everyone, to this special edition of the Countdown to Kickoff, along with Luigi Curto and Henry Racich. I'm Joe Krause here with you for the next hour as we bring you and get everybody ready, Henry, for Eagles.
The homecoming of Big Red.
Yeah, Big Red coming back into town. Good to see. Welcome in, brother. Nice to have you here on a Thursday night.
Awesome. Always a pleasure to be here with this raucous crowd out there. Big Ted's in the front row.
Ted's always in the front row.
And no one dares take that table.
And a good special group here tonight. Henry, a good special group.
Absolutely. We got PW's finest. We got some reps from PW Colonials.
Come on,
PW,
let's hear you guys.
Can I hear some? Oh, they're stuffing their face over there. Carbon up for the big. Oh, you got a bye week, right? All right, they're carbon up for next week. But, yeah, we got the Colonials in the house, my alma mater, my proud alma mater, 4-1 season so far.
They cover?
They cover always.
All right, I'm just making sure.
Good stuff. So we'll meet some of the captains and the coaches as the night rolls on, Luigi. We do need to zero in on what the game will look like getting into Sunday, and we're going to talk about a lot, including head coach Nick Sirianni. How bad of a job did Nick do in that game on Monday night, and what changes will he make going into Sunday against Andy Reid? I don't believe Big Red will be standing on the other sideline worried about what Nick Sirianni is going to call, how he's going to call the game.
Well, Joe, when I got home from work today, I went home and I took my beautiful dog Penny out for her walk like we always do. And every time we go around this beautiful park that I live near, there's a gentleman, an older gentleman, stands outside, and he's always playing the trumpet. He's always playing different songs. And today we walked by and he was playing taps, which wow. I felt was not a good sign, right? But, then he immediately went to It's a Small World, which I have no idea the transition, his idea for that, but, whatever it was. But I felt taps was a symbol of...
foreshadowing?
I don't know about foreshadowing, but it's more of a symbol of Sirianni's play calling is dead. Okay, I think he needs to change things up a lot. Okay, one would be how about running the ball a little bit. Okay, and the fact that he can do that this week because you're looking at a defensive front for the Kansas City Chiefs ranks I think 30th. Pro Football Focus ranks him 30th against the. For pressure and 29th in sacks. Okay, so you're not going to get a lot of pressure up front from this defensive front, and you can run on this team, and you can get creative with the play calling.
Let's take this piece by piece, Henry, with the self-professed king of the coaching world, the head coach, Nick Sirianni, in what was his third game as a head coach, calling a game on Monday night. Perhaps the stage was too big. Perhaps he wanted to get in sort of a run and shoot with the Cowboy offense. Regardless of the reason, he only called, as we know now, 3 running plays in that entire football game, and that has a lot of ramifications. That has a lot of issues, and that plays with the defense. That you had a gassed defense halfway through that third quarter.
Yeah, I mean, last week we talked about what the Eagles needed to do to even compete with this team. I clearly think Dallas is at another level right now. They're playing with, the Bucs, that kind of tier. They're up there. The Eagles are a young, fledgling team, and this city's going to have to be patient with the growing pains that they're going through. So I'm looking at the Eagles, their quarterback position. Is he the franchise guy? That's the big question. Nobody knows yet. It could be worse. Pittsburgh won't get rid of their quarterback.
Yeah, but stay on coaching for a minute. Tell me about Nick Sirianni.
So Nick Sirianni, once you have to assert something in the game. You have to have something that tags your offense as you need to worry about this. They don't have that. And I don't know why they do not use this kid Sanders. I love him. I love how he runs the ball. He's explosive. He has a home run ability. He's one of the guys that can take it 70 yards if he finds a lane. But this young coach, I think the moment got to him, and he wanted to compete through the air with the Cowboys. You don't have that arsenal yet. You don't have that line protection yet. And you don't have that quarterback yet that's going to sit in the pocket and pick defenses apart. He hasn't been at the league long enough to have that comfort zone. So he got out-coached, he got out-swaggered, and he got out-punched early in the game. No. I said last week, they have to stop the Dallas run. They didn't do that to even have a chance. So he's just got to – the lights got him a little bit. I really do. I give him a C at best effort. I mean, he was very average. He was a mediocre coach.
C might be a generous grade for the head coach, Nick Sirianni. And I don't want to be too hard on Nick Sirianni, but he's got a starting quarterback who was starting in what was his 7th game. He's got a receiving core that is made up of number 1 pick Devontae Smith, number 1 pick Rager, and then, of course, Quez Watkins. Quez might be the best of the 3, but Jalen was unable to get the football down the field with any consistency at all, and just did a horrible job of even finding a potential open receiver.
Well, again, that's been the MO, right? On Jalen the entire time. The arm strength, lacking the arm strength to get it down the field, yet they're still going for this down the field play. It's just not there to happen. I mean, you saw Rager on the one that down the field. That ball was 4 or 5 yards short of where it should have been. Right. And not that Rager's going to go up there and fight for it anyways. That's just not the kind of physical receiver he is. But it didn't even give him the opportunity to do that. Okay? Again, Joe, we've been saying it ad nauseum. He's just not giving his players the best chance to succeed by working with their strengths, right? Coach over here saying, run the ball. Use Miles Sanders. Run the ball. In a game like this against the Chiefs, not only can you run the ball, you have to run the ball. You said earlier, Coach Henry over here said earlier about, being out-coached and out-classed and outworked and everything by the Cowboys and everything, and give him a C. He didn't even have they were running the same race with 2 different horses. They had 2 different types of horses. The Cowboys were loaded offensively, okay? Eagles aren't. Now, you got the thoroughbred of thoroughbreds coming into town, and Mahomes, and this Chiefs offense ready to roll. You better be able to run the ball. You better be able to get creative. And for you to think that you're going to have these home run capability plays and keep playing this vertical game down the field, you can't do it. You got to keep Mahomes on the sidelines. You can't allow him to go out there and make plays. You got to just stay within your own offense. You can't be what you're not.
Let's ask the coach. Let's ask Henry Racich. It's a special edition of the Countdown to Kickoff show. We're live at Screwballs here in King of Prussia, all presented by Stateside Vodka. Go to statesidevodka.com. Use the keyword JAKIB. Get 15% off a 1-liter bottle. Henry, let's stay on that conversation here in the opening segment from Screwballs. How do you coach to Jalen Hurts? How do you coach to his strength? You're on the sideline. You've been on the sideline. You've never been on the sideline in a professional atmosphere, but you're a coach. You've been around the game. You understand football. How does Nick coach to Jalen Hurts' strength?
Well, he should know his quarterback's limitations. Now, is he a Mahomes where you could say, I'm going to put the game in your hands. I'm going to give you the ball. You make magic happen. He's not ready for that. This quarterback's not ready for that. So what you do is you get a supporting cast around him. You move the ball on the ground. You do little screens. When he needs to go deep, it's not a futile attempt where the defense knows at this point in time you're in desperate situation trying to play catch up. He just has to play more balanced football. Who runs the ball 3 times in a football game? At what level does that happen?
Nick Sirianni at the NFL level.
Youth, like 7-year-olds don't do it, 12-year-olds don't do it, 16-year-olds don't do it, college guys. Nobody runs the ball just 3 times.
The answer that has yet to be provided to is why. Why did the head coach not run the football more in his press conference? He alluded to it or pushed it off. Thank you, Nick. Pushed it off to the flow or the ebb and flow of the game. I don't believe that.
I'm not buying that.
Neither do I.
Because you know what? There's times when you want to, as an offensive coordinator, you're making calls where you listen. Everybody wants to score. Everybody wants to throw a pass 50 yards and put it in the end zone. But that play is not going to happen unless you set it all up. It's chess, and you don't come out bombs away against the Dallas Cowboys defense. You got to set it up with some runs. You got to make them be honest. You have to have the backers hold before they go into their drops. And he's not a sniper. You don't have a sniper back there. You don't have a Rodgers who can hit a guy 20 yards downfield on the left eye. You have to give this kid a supporting cast. Get your tight end involved with some little screens and some bubbles, and just get the ball in that kid's hands. Anything can happen when Saunders has the ball.
One last thought here on the opening segment of a special edition of the Countdown to Kickoff, Luigi. The ability or the lack of ability to get the tight ends involved in this offense. Now, the RPO offense, you have two good tight ends.
Do we? I haven't seen them.
But Jalen does not throw the football over the middle. Is that a product of the RPO? He does not get the football over the middle.
That's an enormous problem. And if it's not just last game, it's been every game. He does not utilize the middle of the field. And it's because he gets locked in once he gets out of the pocket to the outside of the field. And it's difficult to throw back into the middle of the field. He doesn't have that arm strength to do it, and the teams take it away. They shrink the field away. Again, defensive coordinators, they don't spend their time at home watching reruns.
Back here live at Screwballs on a Thursday night, special edition of the Countdown to Kickoff. Here across the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. Great to be here, by the way, even though the crowd is hung over from the Dallas loss on Monday night. If you were here last Thursday, you saw Henry and Luigi.
Great show.
Not only was it a great show, we sent a one lucky winner from Screwballs down to Arlington, Texas.
She's over there. She had a great time.
She had a great time. It was awesome to send her down, and that was good stuff. So, and tonight we've got some more good stuff coming up as we roll along and get into this game. We're getting ready for Kansas City. Of course, Andy Reid comes into town. News today that Shady McCoy, LaShawn McCoy, announced his retirement. He'll sign a one-day contract with the Philadelphia Eagles, and then he will officially retire as a Philadelphia Eagle. Guy came in, had a great 6-year run here with the Philadelphia Eagles, all-time leading rushing leader, and he followed up on Brian Westbrook.
I was going to say that's what I thought would have been.
Yeah, exactly. So
give him a carry, give him the ball once.
Yeah. So, but good stuff, LaShawn McCoy. Fittingly, by the way, that he comes in and retires.
Well, I don't know. To me, it seems a little shady. It seems a little shady to me. It seems a little shady to me.
Shady
I'm just saying, it seems a little shady.
You're a clever man.
But he does when Andy Reid is here, and of course, LaShawn McCoy won a Super Bowl with Andy Reid when he went to Kansas City.
Right. So everybody still loves Big Red around here. I thought he got ran out of town a little early. Soon after he left Philadelphia, I had some business in Kansas City. They love Andy Reid in Kansas City. He's like God to them, and he's been in the trenches as an assistant for so many years. Couldn't be a nicer guy that finally got his success, his Super Bowl rings, and thank God he's okay after the game. Coaching's very stressful. Coach Bay will tell you that from PW.
Yeah.
You want to pull your hair out sometimes. So the fact that he's better and coming back, and listen, they're going to come into town with a chip on their shoulders after that loss. So the Chiefs have something to prove, and they got the right guy. That's the guy under center that you can just say, make something happen, and he'll make something happen.
No doubt about it. Great to have PW in the house. We'll meet the coach, and we'll meet some of the players tonight. Nice to have them here. Luigi, are you good? Can you hear us? What's going on?
Yeah, I have no idea what's happening back here in the control room, Joe.
Nick.
But it's a disaster.
Nick.
No, I'm kidding. I can hear myself
a breathalyzer right now.
I'm not sure if anyone can hear me. Can anybody out there hear me? They can hear me.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, you're good.
Good job, Nick.
So you guys were just talking about Pat Mahomes, and Coach was over here saying about if anybody could give him the ball and say make something happen, make it happen. The one thing he's been making happen this year is turnovers. Pat Mahomes thrown 3 interceptions so far this year. You got to go back 20 games before he threw his last one. Okay, he doesn't turn the ball over. They're pressing on offense. They're pressing on offense because they're getting gouged on defense.
Yeah, he can run on this team. He better run this week.
Yeah, you absolutely can.
Right.
The one thing that doesn't scare me about the Chiefs so much is Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I've never bought into him, especially they don't use him enough in that system to begin with. Offensively, Tyreek Hill, Cheetah on the outside is a burner. We all know that. Kelsey is one of the greatest tight ends ever played this game. He's going to get his, you know that. So there's your focal points, right? And if you could just zone in on those two guys and take away those two players in this game, which I think Coach Johnson will be able to do, if he can do that and focus on Kelsey and Tyreek Hill and put the energy on that and just let everyone else run free and man up, I think the Eagles got a puncher's chance in this game. I mean, especially because of the fact that Spagnuolo is coming into town. He is playing man defense. Hang on. He's playing man-to-man defense for the last several weeks with the Chiefs. They don't have the personnel to play it to begin with, okay? They are short on depth as much as we are short on depth. And that's why I think their lack of pass rush, their inability to fill in for depth when guys are taking a blow and the starters are off the field, because aside of Tyrann Mathieu, they have nothing else out there. I think we match up enough where we get a puncher's chance to win this game. That's what I feel the Eagles can do. I actually, and I'm not saying that's to be a homer or the fact that I'm looking for a reason for them to win, is because mathematically speaking, if you put the math together, it adds up to the Eagles having an opportunity to win this game.
Well, the Las Vegas, the odds don't agree. The Eagles are a 7.5-point underdog coming into the football game. I guess if you want to say they have a puncher's chance, it's from the defensive side of the football. Despite the fact that they were gassed in the game on Monday night, they did have a defensive touchdown. They did have 2 goal line stops against the Cowboys, even though one was debatable as to whether or not Dak Prescott actually got into the end zone. The largest video scoreboard in the world, and you couldn't tell on the video scoreboard in Dallas whether or not Dak Prescott broke the plane of the end zone. But that's their chance. If they're going to get into a run and gun, if they're going to try and keep up with Patrick Mahomes and the offense at the Linc, Henry, there's just no chance at this point that the Eagles can keep up with Kansas City.
Who's covering the fastest receiver in the league?
Well,
who's manning up with Tyreek Hill in this
I just want to. I'm sorry. I don't want to interject because I need to clarify on what I said, because I don't want to be taken as the fact that when I say puncher's chance, we got to get into a track meet. That's not what I meant. What I meant was puncher's chances, and I think they can win this game. If they don't allow those things to happen, if you try to get into a track meet with this team, you will get dusted off the field. That is I will never make any bones about that. It's just you have to. If they can stay within their own game plan and they do this the smart way and run the ball and limit Mahomes' touches, then you have a puncher's chance. But if you want to go out there and go tit for tat and have with Tyreek Hill on the other side, you have no chance. Even with Rodney McLeod coming back, you have no chance.
Yeah, I mean, that Eagles defense got worn down because they didn't run the ball. They didn't take time off the clock. They didn't do a lot of things. But this Chiefs offense, you're going to know early. Like, Dallas came down on fire, first drive, boom, 7 points. The Kansas City are a tale of 2 teams. They're like half asleep sometimes in the first half, and they put 30 points up in the second half.
That's their MO.
Yeah, so if they come out on fire, that's going to be the track meet. So if the Kansas City goes down, marches down the field on the Eagles, scores right away, it's going to be a long day. So they got to control the clock a little more. You can't give the Chiefs 8 to 10 shots at the end zone because you went 3 and out, because you didn't run the ball and you didn't take any time off the clock. So your defense gets no rest, comes right back on. Run the ball. I said this last week. He has to just run the ball. A new coach is trying to do too much. That little cutesy Philly play that they did the game before that. Run the ball. You're inside the 5. Run the ball.
But even like you said it, I'm sorry, Joe, just real quick, just even like you said earlier, even if it's not running, even if it's bubble screens, little screens, tight end screens, whatever have you, just limit the possessions.
Right.
Limit the possessions. Even the short passing game can be used as a running game.
One thing that'll make it very difficult for the Eagle offense to put together a sustained drive in the game, despite the fact that Kansas City's defense is very porous. Jordan Mailata, the big left tackle, will not play the game on Sunday. Now Andre Dillard will play again. Andre Dillard actually played okay in the Dallas game, so Andre Dillard will start. Brandon Brooks is out, as you know, and of course now Isaac Seumalo is out as well to injury. Now, Landon Dickerson made his first start last week against Dallas at right guard. John McMullen, NFL insider for JAKIB Media, said tonight on said earlier in the week on Football 24/7 that it would be in their best interest to put Landon Dickerson on the left side of the line instead of playing right guard, a position he's more comfortable with on the left side, and put him next to Dillard. We'll see how that plays out. The cat and mouse game going on in South Philadelphia right now is who's going to start on the offensive line, who's going to replace Sayamalu, and what are they going to do with Landon Dickerson. So we'll find out how that plays out. But that will, of course, factor into your point, Luigi, the Eagles' ability to put together some sort of a sustained drive and not go 3 and out. And from a time of possession, if you look at the time of possession from a week ago, or not even from less than a week ago, Monday night, it was a landslide in terms of the amount of possession time that the Dallas Cowboys had versus the Philadelphia Eagles.
And the thing is, too, it's not even about time of possession. It's empty possessions. When you play a team like Kansas City, you can't have empty possessions because they can make you pay on one single play. That's the reason why you can't have empty possessions. So that's why time management is so important, because if you are a team who's not going to score touchdowns every single time going out there, doesn't have the ability to do so, as long as you're able to run the ball, chew up clock, keep your defense rested, give them a breather as much as possible, keep that offense on the other side of the field, chew up minutes, go down, kick a field goal, even punt, pin them deep, make them earn their supper on the way back. But at least you have a healthy defense the whole way, and their defense is getting gassed. And that's the chess game inside the chess game that needs to be played at the NFL level that Nick Sirianni must learn, and learn immediately, or it's going to be c'est la vie, Nick.
Well,
real
we
quick.
knew that, Henry, I'll get a thought from you. We knew that coming in to the season, the first 6 games on the 2021 schedule were going to be tough. As a matter of fact, if you go back to when the schedule was released,
I said, oof.
The Atlanta game was a 50-50 at that point.
Yeah, right.
All right. And then there was San Francisco. San Francisco's a better football team than Philadelphia. So many people had a loss written next to San Francisco. Whether you like the way it played out or not, they had a loss. Dallas, everybody expects us to beat Dallas, but you're in Dallas. Dallas is a good football team. Dak's playing well. Okay. I don't know how many people, if any, expected us to beat Kansas City. Carolina is next. And then Tom Brady in Tampa Bay comes in for that Thursday night game, which, by the way, will be here at Screwballs for a big, huge Eagles tailgate on Thursday night leading into that game. And we'll send somebody from Screwballs right down to the Linc on that Thursday night. So that'll be a lot of fun. Mark your calendars and get out here on a Thursday night. But the point is, many of the fan base may have expected this team to be 2-4, 1-5, and that's what they're trending right now.
I mean, tough schedule with a new coach, with a young quarterback. It's going to be a long year. It's going to be a long season in Philadelphia while they grow. And if we can stay patient with the process, I hate to use the Sixers process because that's still going on, but if you can stay patient with these young players, but the coach has got to step his game up. I mean, defensively, typically you have a linebacker, somebody will have Coach B on, he actually gets a check to coach defense, but who do you spy Mahomes with? What linebacker on this roster can spy Mahomes and keep him in check? There's not one there. There's so many weapons, so much speed. That Chiefs-Ravens game was like an arena football game. All the scoring that was going on and on the over-top coverage so people don't get beat. The Eagles have a handful, more so. Physically, the Cowboys physically beat the Eagles up. The Chiefs can outspeed the Eagles' defense. So we're going to see 2 different types of defensive attack and approach from the Eagles. And they better tie those big boy laces up because they're going to be chasing Mahomes and Hill all over that.
And by the way, your
stadium.
reference to arena football is spot on, although I will say in the new modern NFL,
it's more like arena football.
It's more like arena football, but I will say this, even in the Souls' final year here in Philadelphia, they ran the football more per game than 3 runs.
And it was a lineman.
And it was a lineman.
Right.
Luigi, last thought before we go to the break.
Oh, man. Before we go to break? I don't want to go to break. I feel like staying on, Joe.
We're going to break.
Damn. Well, so we talked about the schedule. Like all season long, again, everyone should have went into the season as we're supposed to have this is a wait and see type of thing, right? We're seeing what these guys are and what they're going to become and who's going to be here in the next couple of years and who's not and how Sirianni going to adapt and yada, yada, yada. And then what do? We go out and beat Atlanta, and it's Super Bowl or bust, right? And then all these questions of, well, if the offensive line stays healthy, when has that been the case in the last 5 years? It never has been, okay? If they can do this, if they can do that, if they can do this. You can't build a team on ifs. You can't build a winning season on ifs. Look at Atlanta we go out there and we pistol whip the Atlanta Falcons and we think they suck, right? Sorry for the lack of better of a term, but they sucked, right? That's what everybody thought. They sucked. What do? They go out there and get better the next week and then win the following week on the road. That team is ascending. This team declining. Why? Coaching, maybe?
Well,
I don't know. Why?
You know what? I can't even call it a decline because to decline, you have to be up. And they're not up yet, and they're not going to be up for...
you know what? I'm saying decline respectfully because of the fact that they were up considering what they did to Atlanta in week one. Yeah. And then it was just a slow pitfall ever since then.
Right. I mean, it's going to be... Listen... It's going to be a long year, man. That's it. You just got to be patient. Enjoy the fact that we have football. We had a pandemic. And that's the mindset that Philly. I'm doing the same thing in Pittsburgh. My team's going to have the same record as the Eagles.
Eagle fan base does not.
They don't have patience, right? They won a Super Bowl every year.
This fan base and patience go together like lamb and tuna fish. They just don't, dude.
This is the year to learn. Namaste.
It's a special edition of the Countdown to Kickoff show as we come to you live from Screwballs. Great to be here, leading you into Eagles, Kansas City Chiefs. It is a dead crowd, and I almost...
You gonna let him talk to you guys like that?
Get
some noise. We get some noise out here.
I'll start buying shots if I need to.
Unbelievable. Take it out of Nick's budget.
We'll take a commercial break as we roll on from Screwballs. Back in a moment. And back here live at Screwballs as we come to you across the JAKIB Media Network. It's our special edition of Countdown to Kickoff, getting you ready for the Eagles and the Chiefs after that crushing defeat to Big D on Monday night, Henry. We try and get everybody fired back up as Andy Reid comes back into town. LaShawn McCoy is going to be retired at the game on Sunday. A lot of good stuff and a couple of great guests here joining us here tonight on the show.
Absolutely. We're going to shift gears here from the NFL to high school football, the real heroes of the gridiron here. To my left is Coach Paul Borshevitz. PW alumni, Westchester alumni. He is a defensive coordinator for the PW Colonials. And my first question to him is, how would you stop Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, even if I gave you 13 players?
Well, I would need that. Right. But you'd have to mix it up. Mix up your coverages, disguise them, bring some pressure, get to the quarterback, make him uncomfortable.
What percentage of your game would you run man against Tyreek Hill?
I would probably
at the goal line?
Man free. So man free one, so I double cover him most of the game.
All day long?
Yep.
All right, to your left, let's talk about your players here. I have Joe. I'm going to butcher your last name. Actually, you're going to say it, so I don't have to butcher it. Joe, what's your last name?
Joe Troilo.
Joe Troilo. You a senior, Joe?
Yep.
Okay. 3-year starter for the team?
2.
2-year starter? Okay. What position do you play?
Right guard and D tackle.
Right guard and D tackle. What's your favorite offensive play where you get to pull and smash a little guy?
Yep. Probably trap.
A trap?
Yep.
All right. I like it. Your offense, run heavy or pass heavy? Or does it vary?
Run heavy.
Run heavy,
Yeah.
Coach Shank's not airing it out there yet? Actually, I saw you got a pretty fast receiver.
He's starting a little bit. He's
Yeah,
starting to
you getting
throw
there?
the ball.
I was at the Methacton game.
Keep it in
I
mind.
loved it. I trained some of the guys from Methacton. I get to rub that in on them. But all right, and who else we have to your left, Joe, is Chris McLaughlin. Is that how you say that last name?
McLaughlin.
Were you quarterback last year?
Yeah, I was.
And then what? Said I just want the rock. Just give me the rock more.
Yeah, pretty much. Just wanted to play defense, focus on defense.
Yeah. What position do you play in defense?
Free safety.
Free safety. Okay. So how's it feel to be the captain for the 4-1 Colonials?
Pretty good. I think we're looking good. Heading
Yeah.
in the right direction, yeah.
Who do you have next week?
Next week we have Cheltenham.
And what's the spread, Paul? You guys favored?
Yeah, I don't do that.
All right. So listen, you two guys, my Colonials here. It's my alma mater. I'm very proud of the football game and the play that's going on up there at PW. Guys have aspirations for college ball?
I'm thinking about it. I'm not sure yet, but it's still in the mix.
Right. How about you?
Yeah, I'm hoping to play somewhere.
Got any schools in mind? Westchester?
Hopefully.
You're not You're not feeding your alma mater with
Hey,
these,
man,
with these
it's
studs?
about what the kids want.
Yeah,
If they want
right.
that, I'll go that route and make that call.
All right, so give me your, Joe, give me your, you're laying awake and you're like, all right, my greatest football play of my life was what? You can go back to, were you a Spartan or a Bear?
I played till middle school.
No way.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. And you're captain of your high school team. Go for you, man. A lot of hard work.
I would say probably last year I had one very good kick out where I pulled and kicked out a D end and put him right on his back.
Pancakes?
Yep.
Pancakes for breakfast? Both you guys, please tell me you can beat Coach Paul in a race.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Not back in the day, though. huh,
Not back in
Paul?
the day. But ask them how they did on 7-on-7 yesterday.
We all
against
got the back in the day stories. Oh, so you guys played the coaches? Don't tell me you lost to your coaches. Stop it. Did you guys lose to your coach?
They sure did.
I need some push-ups in between sets. They got to pay for that.
Coach, let me ask you, Coach, let me zero you back in on some defensive talk right now and use some of what you know and what you game plan for and transition that or parallel that to what the Eagle defense will face on Sunday. They're going to face a high-flying offense. They're going to face an offense that is loaded with talent. Your secondary or the Eagle secondary is going to be tested for sure. Talk a little bit about, from your perspective, game planning against a high-flying offense. Forget about the fact that it's Patrick Mahomes. Just an offense that puts up a lot of points with the expectation that your defense is going to be on the field a long time.
Yeah, well, I just think you have to give multiple looks, disguise it a ton, mix in man and zone, and just keep them on their toes. Don't stay in the same thing. Don't let them keep running the same thing against you. You got to mix it up, just like we do in games. Sometimes we, to a certain formation, play a certain defense. In the middle of the game, we change that to give them a different look. Because once they dial in on something that they feel like they can beat you on, they'll just keep going back to it. Just like a guy like Tyreek Hill. He can stretch the field, and they can do it side to side as well. So they got a lot of room that they got to cover.
Let me get an opinion from you on how challenging or how tough it is, Coach, to make decisions on the fly. It's one thing to prepare leading up to the game. It's another in real time to be able to adjust on the fly. Talk about that.
I think it's about all the support staff you have with you. I got a good guy in the box telling me a lot what's going on. We transitioned in the future. We have iPads on the sideline now, so a play happens, I can watch it immediately in real time and make a correction right then and there.
What's the dialogue with the guy in the booth, the eye in the sky? What's that dialogue like? He's seeing what's happening and conveying information to you? What are you processing?
So I'm asking him for a short list of things that I want to see. Tell me what they're doing off of this, out of this formation, where they're hitting, where we're missing. If we're blitzing, is it hitting in the right gap, and all what that looks like.
Henry, football's football, no matter what level you play, and it was nice to hear Coach explain that. One of the criticisms of head coach Nick Sirianni is that he is not using the talent around him in terms of his coaches. He's trying to be everything. He's a head coach. He's trying to do it all. Can't do it all.
Well, you can't do it all. That's why everyone has their responsibilities, and everybody is in charge of their own ship. So, for example, Coach Paul's a defensive coordinator. He's not going to sit in all the offensive meetings. He's going to talk to his defensive linebacker coach, his D-line coach. They're going to get reports. And in fact, just like a practice, the D-line guy, he has 20 minutes for this drill. The linebacker, they have 20 minutes for this drill. It's a combination piece. You put all the pieces together and everybody collaborates. That's a successful team where the head coach shouldn't do everything. He should just monitor how everything's progressing, jump in when extra hands and minds are needed, but trust the people under you. You have to. And Nick Sirianni is trying to do too much. The game before with that Philly play at the 5. What are you doing? I mean, just run it. I can't even. He aggravates me. When coaches don't run the ball, it makes me really mad to watch a football game. And thank God, I didn't know that you only ran 3 times until you said that today. But running the ball is so important in the NFL today. I don't care how much it looks like arena football. You impose your will on the ground. And that's the ultimate butt whooping when you can run up and down the field.
Let me get a thought from the guys up here joining us here live at Screwballs across the JAKIB Media Network, leading into Eagles, Kansas City, special edition of the Countdown to Kickoff show. Guys, talk about leadership from a standpoint of being a senior working with players that are younger than you, perhaps starting or playing in their first year. What's that dynamic like? How do you take control of a situation when it happens on the field?
I think you have to just lead by example, and if somebody makes a mistake, you have to tell them what they did wrong and let them learn from their mistake. And then the next play, if they make the same mistake, you have to tell them again, learn from that mistake and keep pushing and, keep learning from, every play, because the more experience you get, the better football player you become. And I just think from, the younger you are, the more time you have to develop.
Coach, how much do you rely on your defensive players as leaders on the field?
So I, for the most part, put it in their hands what's going to happen during the game. I don't blame the rest of the defense. I blame them. It allows me to just go to one person to deliver a message, and they can deliver it how they want to the rest of the team. And that's worked really well for us.
Good stuff here tonight, Henry. Henry, last thought, man, before we wrap up.
Before we get off the air, I got to ask Chris what his number one high school highlight play was. He's like, there's so many. Where do I start?
I'd have to say probably I had a forced fumble freshman year, and it was just it was a big deal. Turned the momentum in the game, and it was a big moment for me there.
Oh wait, that's 4 years ago, bro.
Yeah.
Next time I see you, I'm going to have a new highlight, not your ninth grade one. But yeah, this team's trending in the right direction for sure. With the pandemic last year, you didn't play a normal schedule, right? You played like what?
5 games, an abbreviated schedule.
And you played some pretty tough teams.
We led off with a pretty good team.
Yeah, that first thing. I saw the film. Yeah, why I'm missing, right? It looked like an NFL team they were playing.
Yeah, they lost in the state championship game.
Oh, they did?
Yep.
Oh, wow, okay. But this year, 4-1, off and rolling. How many games? 8-game season?
9.
9-game season.
With a bye.
You guys a favorite to win it?
I would hope so.
What do you guys think? Going to get a ring this year on Coach Paul?
That's the goal.
All right, then you graduate out, go to college, and then come be a country Steeler. We're bringing the team back.
All right, good stuff. Hey, big round of applause. Not easy to come up there. We love it. Great stuff out here at Screwball.
P-Dub.
Of the Countdown to Kickoff show. We'll take a commercial break, and we'll roll on from Screwballs back in a moment. And back here live across the JAKIB Media Network as we come to you live from Screwballs. It's our special edition, Countdown to Kickoff. Man, I tell you what, Henry, great to have PW out. A couple of good players joining us in the last segment. Great insight from the coach. He lets the players manage or handle the process out there. Interesting.
I mean, it's accountability. So he'll call a scheme and just expect everybody to do their job the way they've done it all week long, rep after rep after rep. But it's not micromanaging. Again, I don't know if he's seen a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes. That guy's a special problem. He creates special issues for any defense. A guy like Mahomes and Tyreek Hill combining are going to always just keep guys up at night before the game. You hope you can do the best and limit the damage. Because they're going to get theirs. Mahomes is going to get his. Tyreek Hill is going to get his. But limit the damage and keep rolling.
Let me ask you one more thought before I turn to Luigi on specifically on coaching. Is there a difference between accountability and standard? And the reason I asked that question, Nick Sirianni, head coach Nick Sirianni, was questioned at his press conference after the Dallas game and after that loss. And 24 hours later, after the dust started to settle, Nick was asked a question specifically about coaching accountability and player accountability. Now, head coach Nick Sirianni, and I know you don't have the benefit of actually listening to the soundbite, but he used the word standard. Players playing up to a standard that is created by the coaching staff. Is that the same or is it different? Meaning, is accountability the same as standard or are they two different meanings?
I think on the spot, they're two different meanings because the standard to me, is an established culture. Okay, so I'm a coach of 10 years in the NFL or wherever I am. I have a standard to everyone's held to a standard. Every player, every person, every coach. This is a standard. So to me, that's more of a broad stroke thing where accountability is specifics accountability in your coverage, knowing your calls, knowing your plays. I just think he hasn't been here enough to set a standard. He may have set a standard in practice and with his players and with his staff in that bubble, but to the city, he doesn't have a standard. He doesn't have a track record of, hey, look at the guy who pitched for 14 years, not a losing record. That's a standard. So when you don't meet that standard, that's when the public gets on top of you as a coach. But he hasn't set there's no Nick Sirianni standard in Philadelphia yet. What has he done? He's his first year. So the standard is, I think, an overall mindset of this team where the accountability, then we get into the finite. You got to be accountable defense, special teams, the 3 phases of the game, and then you break those 3 phases down into individual players and their accountability and their roles. Put all that together, it succeeds. Now you have a standard set. I mean, that's my take.
All right,
on it.
pretty good stuff. Good answer. Good clarification. Luigi, back up on set for our final segment, and there's a lot to talk about still that we have not covered going into this game. There's a lot of interesting sidebar stories. There's the Kelsey brothers playing, Travis Kelsey and Jason Kelsey playing. Of course, Andy Reid's return. He's 2-0 against the Eagles since he departed. Andy Reid's tenure in Philadelphia. Yes, it was time for Andy Reid to go, but he's on the doorstep. Should he win this game, should he beat the Eagles on Sunday, it will be his 100th victory as a coach with Kansas City. Quite an accomplishment. He's quite an incredible coach, and I often wonder if when you look back to Andy Reid's first year back in 1999 when he came to Philadelphia from the Green Bay Packers staff, and he won 5 games in that first year before beginning and going on what was an incredible run as the Eagles head coach.
Well, speaking of accomplishments, this is an accomplishment that I found my way back to this table after doing several shots at the bar here at Screwballs while you guys were doing the last segment. So I didn't hear much of what was going on, but you guys looked fantastic. I just want to say that first and foremost. You guys look fantastic.
Stuff.
As far as the dynamic of Reid coming back and how ceremonious it would be for him to win his 100th game here, as we all remember, Don Shula became the winningest coach in NFL history against the Philadelphia Eagles, right? And I was at that game.
Good stat. I was at good stat. You dug that one up.
I was at that game. And
but are they going to boo him? Is Andy
no?
going
See, now I was just getting ready to ask this question back to you, Joe. I know you're in the business of asking the questions here and driving the panel, whichever way you see fit to do. But for me to ask you the question, Andy's coming back here. Okay, after everything you've been around to see the entire marriage and the divorce and all the good times and the bad times and everything, what are you going to feel? What are you going to feel the moment he walks out of that tunnel?
Well, I will tell you this. If I was in the stadium on Sunday, I would be one of the 55,000 people standing and cheering for Andy Reid. I believe that there'll be a percentage of the crowd of the Eagle fan base that'll be in the game on Sunday that will boo Andy Reid.
Because
I will 700 level anymore.
No, that's the thing too. Like,
it's a percentage though.
This is like,
but I will be there, and I would cheer for Andy Reid.
This is like seeing your ex-girlfriend get married to somebody else and going on to be happy.
Well, it's not the day of that happening.
Yeah, but
he's been succeeding in Kansas City
that's
for
what I'm
years.
saying. But you saw it happen.
Yeah.
You watched it happen. You watched him move on from you to go be successful somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
And you have to look at it and go, can you remember enough of the good times? Speaking of bad times, Philly's now down 1-0 and apparently Dunsky out of this playoff race. But can you remember enough of the good times to offset the sour taste some people may have in their mouth from him leaving? And I think it's enough. I think Andy deserves it. I think he's been around long enough. He's one of the old school, the good guys in football. He's had a lot of things here. We watched a lot of things with his family unravel here. A lot of tough times here, but a lot of good times as well. And I think a guy like Andy, not many people can say they've earned that respect. I think Andy's one of those guys who's earned that respect. He's been one of the nicer guys around the league. Anybody who's come in contact with him in any way, shape, or form, whether it be at training camp a long time ago when he was in Lehigh, whether it be down at the Nova Care Center for open practices or whatever, what have you, or just a run-in the neighborhoods whenever you were seeing him. He's always the nicest guy. Always.
Henry, let me ask you, and I'm not going to ask you to pretend to be Andy Reid. I'm not going to ask you to tell me what Andy Reid is going to do on Sunday, but just from a coaching position. You're coming in against a football team who struggled badly to maintain possession of the football, to put together any sort of sustainable drive, to be able to manage the clock and be able to put themselves in a position to win the football game. You've got a quarterback this will be his 8th start. How are you going to approach your prep for the Eagles?
Well, I have plenty of film on their defense because they were on the field the whole game. So Andy Reid's not losing sleep over this game, but he's going to prepare. So listen, he's coming off a loss. They're 1-2, and last year they were the second best team in the league. All right, so they're trying to find their stride a little bit. There's really nothing about the Eagles that is going to keep him up at night. There's going to be a whole lot of Eagles up at night the night before. That Eagles defensive coordinator, he's not going to sleep the night before the game. They're going right into a buzzsaw.
Do you think by any chance that Andy's looking at this as like, this is a slump buster for us?
Because
do you really? I mean, potentially look at
it couldn't happen.
I would say 100% no, and here's why. The Kansas City Chiefs coming into the season expected to go undefeated.
They're not dominating people.
But I'm saying the expectation from the Chiefs this year, they were going to go undefeated. If they were in a position to go 17-0, they were going to do it. I think they're an angry football team coming into the game on Sunday.
They're 1-2. They're not getting. The people are like, wait a minute. Maybe we can beat them. Maybe we can. Andy's coming back to the place that ran him out of town. These fans ran Andy Reid out of town. They disrespected that guy on the way out. He's going to come in with a chip on his shoulder after losing a game.
And his
players are going to come in with a chip on his shoulder. McCoy's going to retire as an Eagle. There's going to be a lot of emotion down at that stadium. And listen, I'm going to say 90% of that stadium stands up and claps for Andy Reid because he deserves it. He did his time here. He dealt with this press here, this fan base. He wasn't. He had talent. McNabb, I don't know if he gets that kind of love coming back. A lot of guys will boo that guy, but Andy Reid's a great guy. Like he's an NFL great.
That's what I was just saying.
How do you not like that guy? Leaving here. When you leave here, it seems like everyone that leaves here, they go somewhere else and they blow up. You see the best of them after they come out of here. So, they're going to come in here locked and loaded, and he'll try to blow the Eagles out. They will try to embarrass this team on Sunday.
All right, good stuff. A special edition of the Countdown to Kickoff show as we come to you from Screwballs. It's a quiet night at Screwballs. I think the fan base is trying to pick themselves up off the carpet a little bit after that game, or after that loss, rather, that embarrassing loss to Dallas. Luigi, I'll come to you for your final thoughts in terms of, I know you said earlier that you thought, and you might not like me putting this back out there, but you did feel as though this team had a puncher's chance.
I still do.
And you still do. So tell us why as we get ready to wrap things up. And I'm okay. Listen, I want to feel good about the Eagles. I want to feel good about them going into the football game. Tell us why.
Well, I can't tell you they're going to feel good about it. I'm just saying. I'm saying that I'll give you some reason for optimism. How about that?
I'll take that.
We'll phrase it that way a little bit better. Again, puncher's chance in the fact that if you're able to control the clock and you dedicate yourself to that, control possession, run the ball, keep it simple, stupid. I always say that, okay? Do the things like I said. Coach Henry even made it clear. Run your bubble screens. Do your little screens. Get Miles Sanders involved early and often. Use him. He's a weapon. He's an asset. Use him, right? Utilize the middle of the field for once. How about that? They're not expecting it. No one is, right? You have 2 tight ends who do nothing out there. They might as well be non-existent and non-participants in the game. Put them in the middle of the field. Allow them to create space for maybe some drag routes, some underneath stuff for Quez Watkins. Use your speed that way. Get creative, okay? I also feel the fact that the reason that the Eagles can hang a little bit is because the lack of pass rush from Kansas City. So Jalen Hurts will have time back there to settle his feet, make his throws, go through his reads, and not have to hurry every single throw. The fact that we're banged up on the offensive line, especially on the left side of that line, it's not going to be too much of a detriment to the Eagles this week because, again, you're facing the pass rush that's not exactly too good. They're the 30th in the league, 29th against...
win or lose, what are they going to do?
Win or lose. Can I just make them the cover? Nah. I'm going to take them. I'm actually, you know what? I'm taking the Eagles to win this week, Joe. I'm taking the Eagles to win this week. Spoil Andy's return. I'm taking them 27-24.
All right.
27-24.
Whew.
And I'll put my money where my mouth is. 27-24.
All right, good stuff from Luigi. Thank you much. Henry, I'll come to you. Last word for you before we wrap it up.
I didn't know Jesus was on the Eagles roster this week. He's picking the Eagles to beat the Kansas City Chiefs.
He just walked on. He literally just walked on.
So I'm gonna roll. I'm gonna say 35-17 Chiefs.
Yikes.
35-17.
Yikes.
All
I was
right.
close last week.
You were close
I said
last week.
21 or 23. It's close last week.
All right, good stuff. Special thanks to everybody out at Screwballs for coming out on a Thursday. PW, nice job, great job. We appreciate you coming out on a Thursday night, live here on Thursday night, every Thursday night, special edition of the Countdown to Kickoff show, along with Luigi and Henry, Chris, and Nick. Working all of the audio, and everybody who came out at Screwballs tonight. We appreciate you being here.
Oh, wait, Joe, I need your pick, Joe.
I never give my pick,
All
Luigi.
right.
See you next time, everybody.
One day you will.
Go for the midnight dares. Go for the memories. Go for the view that goes on forever. Go for the bubbles in your bathtub and in your drink. Go to bed whenever you want. Or don't. Go for him. Go for her. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.